Welcome to Study Loop.
Okay, in order to answer this question, let's talk about the ligands binding to their receptors. In our cells, we're going to have two different types of receptors, okay? Those receptors that are expressed here on the cell's surface, and those receptors that are going to be expressed intracellularly, for example, in the cytoplasm or on the surface of the nucleus, okay? And this depends on one specific property, the lipid solubility of the ligand. The ligand is going to be a toxin, a hormone, a drug, for example, that is going to bind the receptors, okay? And if this ligand is not lipid soluble, remember that the cell membrane is lipid soluble. Well, it's practically, it has a lipid core, okay? It means it is mainly made of lipids, the cell membrane. So if you want to diffuse passively something without the use of transporters, then your ligand should be lipid soluble. If the ligand is lipid soluble, then it is going to be able to diffuse passively, and it is not going to require a receptor on the cell's surface. So the receptor for lipid soluble ligands are going to be found in the intracellular. Okay, and what happens if the ligand is not lipid soluble? Well, if the ligand is not lipid soluble, then it is not going to be able to get inside the cell passively. Okay, so because of this, the receptor for this ligand should be found on the cell's surface. Okay, this occurs when the ligand is not lipid soluble. Now, when the receptor is found like on the cell surface, it is going to be bound to second messengers, okay, that are going to send like the message, well, to like, they are going to cause a biological activity, okay, but always, like when there is an extracellular or when the receptor is found on the cell surface, it is going to be related with second messengers. But when the ligand is diffuses passively, like inside the cell, then it is not going to require a second messenger because it can directly go and activate the protein they want, okay, the receptor they want. So this is one very important difference between them. Now let's see the question and the options. Thyroid hormone is a lipid-soluble signal molecule, okay, that crosses the membrane of all cells. It means it is going to have the receptor for thyroid hormone inside the cell, not on the cell surface. Why would a cell fail to respond to a thyroid hormone? Option A says the MAP kinase cascade leading to cell activation is effective into the target cell. This is false because the MAP kinase cascade is related with with receptors that are bound in or on the cell surface. Okay. Option B says the DNA sequence it binds to underwent a mutation. The thyroid hormone does not directly bind to the DNA. Okay, so this is not the answer. Option C says there is no intracellular receptor for thyroid hormone in the cell. This is correct. Okay, option C is correct, and this is the answer, because if there is no intracellular receptor for thyroid hormone, then thyroid hormone is not going to be able to bind the receptor because there is no receptor. So there is not going to be a biological activity. Remember that all receptors cause a biological activity. If they don't cause a biological activity, they are not receptors. Okay. Option D says the second messenger does not recognize a signal from the receptor, and this is false because intracellular receptors are not related with second messengers. The correct option is option C.